Welcome to another episode of Neuromyofascial Science Today. I'm your host, Patrick Wagner, and today we have a fascinating and eye-opening discussion lined up for you. In this episode, we're diving deep into the intricacies of whiplash and spinal injuries with the renowned Dr. Lamb. We'll explore how kinetic energy exponentially impacts injury severity and collisions, and uncover the often misunderstood concept of invisible injuries. Today's discussion is based on Dr. Lamb's groundbreaking audiobook, Newton's Laws Do Not Apply. We'll be answering questions from individuals who read the book and are curious about the profound insights it offers. Dr. Lamb will explain why current imaging technologies can often miss significant spinal injuries and how neuromyofascial science is paving the way for better diagnosis and treatment. We'll also discuss the tragic link between untreated chronic pain and opioid addiction. This is an episode you don't want to miss, so let's get started. Dr. Lamb, in your audiobook, Newton's Laws Do Not Apply, you explain the basics of Newton's laws of motion and their relevance to the human body during an accident. Can you explain one of the key points you discuss, specifically kinetic energy and how it impacts the severity of injuries in collisions?
Absolutely, Patrick. Kinetic energy is the energy that an object possesses due to its motion, and it's a crucial concept in understanding injuries during a collision. According to Newton's laws of motion, the formula for kinetic energy, or KE, is 1/2 multiplied by the mass of the object, then multiplied by the velocity squared. The key point isn't just the formula itself, but what it implies for the human body in an accident. The kinetic energy experienced by a human is proportional to the change in velocity squared. This means that the energy of injury, or the amount of injury sustained, increases exponentially with speed. For example, if you're in a car accident, the impact energy that affects your body is not just directly related to the speed you're traveling at. Instead, it's squared. So if you double your speed, the kinetic energy, and thus the potential for injury, quadruples. This exponential relationship highlights the dramatic increase in injury severity even with small increases in speed. This understanding is crucial, especially for patients who are classified as whiplash-associated disorder level 1, where no loss of range of motion or significant symptoms are initially observed. Even what appears to be a lower speed accident, the underlying impact forces can still cause significant injury. It's vital for healthcare practitioners to recognize the relationship between speed and kinetic energy to avoid misclassification of injuries.
Dr. Lamb, what are some real-life examples of how exactly the kinetic energy equation in an accident applies to most of us?
Okay, Patrick, let's break it down with some real simple examples. So, for instance, if you're in a 1 mile per hour sudden impact, the relative injury factor is 1 times 1, which equals 1. Now, if you increase your speed to 2 miles per hour, the equation becomes 2 times 2, resulting in 4. This means that a 2 mile per hour accident will apply 4 times the energy of impact and injury compared to a 1 mile per hour impact. As the speed increases, the energy of injury increases to 100 times more than at 1 mile per hour collision. And at 60 miles per hour, the sudden impact kinetic energy explodes to 3,600 times that of 1 mile per hour impact. This is a key point in explaining how speed injures and kills. It sheds light on why medical science might be underestimating the extent of injury experienced from collisions, such as motor vehicle accidents or sports injuries like 2 hockey players colliding. It also partially explains the title of my audiobook, Newton's Laws Do Not Apply, as I am illustrating that Newton's laws are often misinterpreted in the context of car accidents. Healthcare professionals and society in general may be unintentionally dismissive about the true injuries experienced in acceleration or deceleration injuries, also known as whiplash.
Dr. Lamb, your audiobook highlights a tendency to overlook the seriousness of whiplash injuries. Can you elaborate on what whiplash is and why it's so frequently misclassified?
Whiplash is essentially a mechanism of injury. The medical and physics term to explain whiplash is an acceleration-deceleration injury. This happens because our bodies are either accelerated or decelerated rapidly, and it's the sudden change in speed that causes injury to our bodies and spine. The injuries from whiplash can be categorized under what is known as whiplash-associated disorders, or WAD. Currently, we classify the severity of a whiplash event from WAD 1 to WAD 4, with WAD 1 being no injury and WAD 4 involving spinal fractures and severe neurological injury. While this classification system is helpful, it is also flawed and overly simplistic. For instance, WAD 1 is defined as a whiplash event with no injury, which is physically impossible. According to Newton's laws and the principles of kinetic energy, any sudden change in speed will deliver some amount of energy that causes injury. I frequently see patients who've experienced significant deceleration injuries at speeds of 30, 40, or even 50 miles per hour being diagnosed as WAD 1 by healthcare professionals. This misclassification is one of the key reasons I emphasize in my audiobook, Newton's Laws Do Not Apply, that there is a misunderstanding of the true nature and impact of whiplash injuries.
Dr. Lamb, in your audiobook, you go into great detail about spinal imaging and the limitations of current technology. Can you explain the concept of invisible injuries in whiplash and why they're so challenging to detect?
Of course, Patrick. Much of my work focuses on the concept of invisible injuries to the spine and limb, which is a fundamental aspect of neuromyofascial science. Our most advanced imaging technology, the MRI, is excellent at visualizing bones and nervous tissue, and it can even detect muscle tears, such as in a shoulder MRI showing a torn rotator cuff. However, the spine is a complex structure made up of a column of bones and nervous tissue encased in multiple layers of muscle. When these spinal muscles are injured in a whiplash event, the damage often goes unseen by conventional MRI. Even though the MRI might show evidence of muscle spasm, which is a concerning sign, it fails to reveal the full extent of the injury. Neuromyofascial science has shown, through specialized soft tissue auditing procedures, that scar tissue forms around the spine after an accident. This scar tissue creates a progressive spinal squeeze that can alter spinal anatomy over time. Unfortunately, this scar tissue is invisible on standard imaging, leaving healthcare professionals unaware of its presence and unable to measure or assess its impact accurately. There is potential, however, to make these invisible lesions visible and significantly advance the field of rehabilitation medicine. This is something I discuss in greater detail in my audiobook. Understanding and addressing these invisible injuries is crucial for improving patient outcomes and providing effective treatment for those suffering from whiplash and other related conditions.
Dr. Lamb, can you explain how the muscles in the spine respond to injury during an accident?
For sure, Patrick. An acceleration-deceleration injury, commonly known as whiplash, can impact the entire body, but the spine is particularly vulnerable. When skeletal muscle is injured, it typically undergoes a process of tearing, followed by swelling and spasm or shortening. However, the muscles around the spine exhibit a more pronounced response to injury. In the event of an injury, these spinal muscles will spasm and shorten. In mild cases, this spasm may resolve within days or weeks. Unfortunately, in many instances, the shortened spinal muscles do not relax or release. Instead, they develop scar tissue of varying densities, which significantly alters the muscle anatomy and function, as well as its effects on the surrounding spine. This scar tissue can become extremely dense, sometimes stronger than steel. I've seen cases where the scar tissue bends steel needles and resists breaking even when subjected to various forms of rehabilitation. This phenomenon is why I refer to it as supracontracture. These supracontractures are essentially bulletproof and invisible, much like Superman. Hence the term supracontracture is used to describe these spinal injuries. Supracontractures are central to neuromyofascial science. These spinal changes can occur not only from car accidents, but also from a slip and fall, sports collisions, repetitive activities, and even with aging. I frequently find these supracontractures in cases of chronic pain and neuromuscular disease. Understanding and addressing these supracontractures is crucial for effective treatment and rehabilitation.
Dr. Lamb, can you explain why so many people with chronic pain from car accidents end up overdosing while trying to find relief?
This is a tragic but increasingly common story. Each year, about 6 million Americans experience car accidents, and around 1.5 million of them endure long-term effects, typically in the form of a whiplash injury. These injuries often go undertreated due to their invisible nature and a lack of understanding about the kinetic energy involved in accidents. As a result, scar tissue forms around the spine, progressively disabling these individuals and leading to chronic pain. Many patients struggle to find relief through rehabilitation and end up with complex chronic pain that requires pain management. Initially, doctors prescribe antineuropathic agents, but these often fail to provide full relief, leading to opioid prescriptions. Opioids can initially control pain and improve sleep and functioning, but over time, higher doses are usually required. This escalation can lead to addiction and mental health issues, causing medical professionals to withdraw opioid support, sometimes without adequate replacement. Desperate to manage their pain and maintain their quality of life, many turn to street opioids, risking drug reactions and overdose. According to a Time magazine report, up to 80% of heroin users were chronic pain patients who followed this path. These individuals aren't addicted to drugs like heroin or fentanyl for the sake of getting high. They're addicted to the relief that the drugs provide. Unfortunately, the difficulty in diagnosing and treating neuromyofascial pathology often leads to this cycle of desperation and overdose, a gap we are actively striving to bridge with our ongoing work and research.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Neuromyofascial Science Today. We hope you found our conversation with Dr. Lamb both informative and enlightening. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast on Spotify or your favorite streaming platform and leaving a review. Your feedback helps us bring you more valuable content. For more information on neuromyofascial science and to explore Dr. Lamb's groundbreaking work, including his book, Newton's Laws Do Not Apply, visit nmfscience.com. You can find the book on Amazon and the audio version on Audible. Stay tuned for our next episode where we continue to explore the latest in neuromyofascial science and its impact on health and wellness. Until next time, stay healthy and take care.